Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. One of the videos I did yesterday, a little flash video, was the news about the Operation Copa detectives. These are the people looking at potential corporate homicide by the SNP, are extending their investigation. They're moving in, and they're very interested in the deleted WhatsApp messages. They think there will be evidence in those which support all the other evidence leading hopefully to charges of corporate murder being laid at Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman, amongst many others. And they're desperate to see what these messages are. And of course, because it's such a serious crime, there will be no issue with them going to a judge, getting the judge to issue a court order and asking WhatsApp to please release those supposedly deleted messages, because people like Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman probably think that when you delete things, they go forever. This is the internet. Nothing is gone forever. And that will be very, very worrying for that pair, because if these things come up and if it's shown that they made deliberate messages that they knew would kill people, then there is no option but for charges to be laid. That is why everything had to be deleted, of course. They don't want charges being laid. Let's take a look. Now, all of this, of course, has come about by the sacrifice, the hard work and the diligence of our good friend Lesley Roberts, a woman who I think they need to make statues of her. Every town square and city square in the whole of Scotland should have a statue to Lesley. She, of course, will be deeply, deeply embarrassed by me saying this, but we all do owe her a debt of great gratitude. The personal sacrifices she's made to do this are absolutely stunning. I speak to her on a regular basis, and I know she'd absolutely hate what I'm saying, of course, but she is, a national treasure. What she's done to highlight this case is stunning, and the amount of evidence she's given to the police for this Operation Copa, is also immense, and that is why they looked at it and said that there is enough to be going on with to have a look and do this investigation. Now, of course, this investigation has now widened, as we mentioned, and they want to see what's going on with all the missing WhatsApps, because within them may well be the charges for murder. Wouldn't that be stunning? And this, of course, is why Freeman and Sturgeon and all the others, that little coterie of killers, perhaps, allegedly, will be deeply, deeply worried, and their little sphincters will be twitching. But we'll have a look at this. Homicide cops investigating COVID deaths to look into Nicola Sturgeon and the WhatsApp deletion scandal. Detectives from Operation Copa are to take a new statement from the campaigner Lesley Roberts after she said it is now clear that SNP ministers have lied to the public since the beginning of the pandemic. Well, we know that now. They've even come out and admitted it. And the things they're doing, and when they were given advice by experts, they went the complete opposite way, and they've admitted to politicising it, they've admitted to covering up information, they've admitted to doing things against advice, but simply so that they could get their way. And of course, that alone, if it's found to have killed people, must be a crime. Certainly negligence. Criminal negligence. If they were told that what they're doing is wrong and it would kill people, and that there was another way, and being told by experts, and they still did it, then that's got to be a crime. Police officers looking into thousands of COVID-19 deaths in Scotland are to speak to health campaigners to take an additional statement on the latest revelations regarding Nicola Sturgeon. Officers from the Unresolved Homicide Investigation Team are searching for pandemic criminality as part of Operation Copa, which was set up to look into the Scottish care home deaths in 2020. Many of those fatalities could have been avoided if elderly hospital patients were tested and properly isolated before being rushed into social care, it is alleged. And also would have helped if you hadn't have put down as one of the treatments for COVID, euthanasia. That was another one. Or where people were having DNRs put on their beds without consent. A DNR without consent is, in my view, murder. But we'll have to see what the courts say. Last year, campaigners Lesley Roberts, Rab Wilson and Roger Livermore made a complaint to Police Scotland, claiming that Miss Sturgeon and former SNP Healthcare Secretary Jean Freeman may be guilty of corporate manslaughter. I would go one more, and I would say homicide. Corporate homicide. Manslaughter is death by not being aware of what you were doing. I believe now, with the evidence of the likes of Woolhouse and Roger Pennington, not Pennington, Hugh Pennington. I was just saying Roger Livermore there. Hugh Pennington, another one, another expert, a world-leading expert, an expert on coronavirus. They offered their advice. That advice was shunned, and they went the other way. So I think it is not corporate manslaughter, corporate murder. They later signed statements and submitted evidence to support the allegations. In Lesley's case, there was 57 files of evidence. It was an immense amount. This was a woman who worked diligently for such a long time. That needs to be recognised. And I think, of course, we've had Lesley on, we've done the Zooms. I'll see if I can get her back in. We'll do a Zoom for this. But I think everyone who's a regular viewer here knows the excellent work Lesley's done. Anyway, in an email to Police Scotland, Miss Roberts says, since signing off on the statement, it has become even more obvious that the government, and in particular these two individuals, she referred to Sturgeon and Freeman, have lied to the public since the beginning of the pandemic, and therefore, given what is now in the news and therefore in the public domain, we must, we, the complainers, are requesting to add further material to our original complaints that we feel must be investigated fully by Police Scotland, and she is absolutely 100% right. In the original complaint, the trio alleged that the Corporate Manslaughter and Corporate Homicide Act 2007 had been broken by the Scottish Government. Ms Roberts now says that both the Public Inquiry Act 2005 and the Data Protection Act 2018 may also have been breached. And of course, I think everyone agrees that they have. These people are absolute heroes. And if they can drag those two in particular, plus any others, all the other ragbag tag of hangers-on, lickspittles and obsequious little sycophants that made up the coterie, and drag them all into court, put them all in the dock, try them, find them guilty, and jail them. It won't bring anyone back, but it will maybe have a sense of justice, a bit of karma, and maybe people can look then and see that, sad as the deaths are, at least someone is going to pay for them. And I think the mood, and I've mentioned this in other videos, I think the mood is changing. Everything was always protect Nicola Sturgeon. She was untouchable. And I think the mood is changing because people know that ultimately with everything that's going on, somebody has got to go down for this. And they're all thinking, it ain't going to be me. And of course the buck stops with Nicola Sturgeon. She was the Commander-in-Chief. She's the one who made all the rules. Nobody could speak against her. She was a witherer of put-downs and things like that. And anyone who dared to gainsay what she wanted would be, glared at with a basilisk eye. And so I think it's going to be her. And I think everyone's realising that it's got to be her that is the one that's going to pay. And so that little sheen of protection now is starting to wear thin. People are distancing themselves and saying, oh, no, it wasn't me. It was her. Starting to come now. And I think that's where it's going to end. Anyway, she writes, this is Lesley. In relation to the WhatsApp messages and other correspondence, I am genuinely appalled that those in senior roles were deleting messages and correspondence in their quest to try to evade FOI requests. I also believe that there is the potential that this is contravening the laws surrounding the Public Inquiry Act 2005, and that these actions were done intentionally in a deliberate effort to prevent the disclosure of essential information to the C19 inquiry and to the public. I believe that when they were deleting these, they weren't just deleting these and then they're giving the excuse, oh, well, there was security and rubbish. What they were doing, and let's not call this like, oh, wholesale deletion. Let's call it what it is. The destruction of evidence. And when they were telling other people to do it, it is also conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. And that carries a life sentence. She said, we also believe that there was an industrial scale lying and misleading of the public going on, and that those involved are more interested in protecting the names of those in senior roles than telling the truth to the public. By doing so, there's the potential that the Data Protection Act 2018 has also been breached. Do them for everything. Get them up and then do them and go 5 years, 7 years, 7 years, 2 years life. And then when they go and do it, don't, consecutive. Don't do them at the same time. You give them consecutive sentencing. So they do one, then they start the next, then they start the next, then they start the next. Keep these people in jail for the rest of their horrible little lives. The Scottish Daily Express has seen a copy of an email response from a member of the Unresolved Homicide Investigation Team. And the officer writes, I am happy to meet with you in order to note an additional statement regarding the points below. Ms Roberts also questions the time frame of the police investigation, noting that it is now almost 11 months down the line since we submitted our original complaint. And she also raises questions regarding the death of her mother, Letitia, who passed away in December 2021. And that obviously was a massive blow for Lesley. And I've spoken to her about that. And the things that went on, the DNR was put on the bed and she had to fight with that. All sorts of problems, which I'm not going to go into. That's a very personal nature. I'll just leave that there. But there was all sorts of problems with that. In her email to the police, she says, my mother was also transferred from hospital to a care home in the summer of 2020 due to suffering a pneumonic type of illness. She subsequently died. I now feel as though I was completely betrayed by the government in relation to my late mother, and instead of adhering to the Equality Act 2010, I felt she was simply deemed to be expendable. And they did that to a lot of them. These people, these two women, deemed all elderly people were expendable, DNR, euthanise, let them die, because chances are they're unionists. And for these two, it was a good idea to get rid and basically genocide the elderly, in my view, allegedly. I'm coming up. When I first had contact with Lesley Roberts, she contacted me. I'd done a story, and it was about this subject. And she contacted me and said, look, she's got some information. And I did not know Lesley. Subsequently, I've had lots of conversations with her. Done a few Zoom calls. We've had phone calls. We've had messages. She's dropped information. She's a bit of a tease. She tells me, this is coming. Oh, what is it? And then she'll tell me, but I'm sworn to secrecy. And then sometimes she won't tell me. She said, no, David, you'll tell. I won't tell. I promise I won't tell. And I do try not to tell. And I've been very good to my word. But what I've come to realise is that this woman is an absolute hero. She is the true Scotland's mammy, because she really is looking after everyone. And she's forcing the truth out of these liars, these thieves, these corrupt, inept individuals, and out of what I also consider these evil, psychopathic megalomaniacs as well. And the truth must come out. And if Lesley's work, and others, Roger Livermore and that, if these people can get their word out and that something happens, that action happens, and we can get a result for everything that she's done, then that will be the legacy that we must all bear. I certainly thank Lesley. I'm very, very glad. I know her. I'm proud to know her. And I'm proud to do my bit to help her. What I do for her is nothing. I merely highlight things. The real work is hers. She deserves all the help, aid and assistance that she can get. And I think we all need to support her. I'll stop now. Thank you very much for watching this. Let's hope that the police move on, do something, and really drag these two in chains around every town and city in Scotland before jailing them for the rest of their unnatural lives. Thank you and goodbye.